From our Dual City studios in Texas, USA, it's the award-winning in-wheel time car talk show. Just ahead, driver Andrew Chapman competing in the ARCA race car series, plus Jeff's Motor Minute, and I'll get to review the redesigned 2027 Kia Telluride.
All right.
Howdy, along with Mike out of this world Mars. We always need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. It's a beautiful day, and let's not leave out Chief Engineer David Ainsley.
Yeah.
I have not talked to him this week, really.
Well, he was going to some instructional institution last week.
Yeah.
And maybe he had to stay after class. I don't know.
I don't know either, but apparently
He got detention. That's probably what it was.
probably
Yeah.
so. Sleeping in class.
Could have been.
Yeah, no doubt.
Teachers got him staying after class.
All right, well, let's bring in our NASCAR driver, shall we?
Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew Chapman. Is he there, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
There he is. Andrew.
There he is.
Boy, you made it just in time.
Yeah, sorry
you
to
were
wake
going
you.
to get a big spanking if you didn't make it on time. You know that, don't you?
Well, glad I made it.
Good answer. I like that. How old are you, Andrew?
I'm 21. Newly
20.
21.
Say nearly, did you say?
No, newly 21.
Newly.
Oh, newly 21.
Tell him how old you are.
Yeah, I'm 23. So I got you beat by a couple of years.
Times 40.
So, Andrew, it's great to talk to you, and thanks for joining us today. So, are you out in Pasadena, California?
Yeah.
You are? Okay.
I'm
I didn't
in
know
my
what.
room right now.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that you were still out there and that we weren't talking to Pasadena, Texas, because we have that right down the street from us
Yep, sure
here.
do.
So just wanted to bring that up. So I understand that you started racing when you were 13 years old in go-karts. Am I correct?
Yeah. I started when I was 30. Me and my dad, I went to a K1 speed when I was 13, and we were like, oh yeah, we want to, do this. So we bought a little go-kart, put it in the back of the pickup truck. We ran that for a year and just kind of kept going.
Yeah. Well, and were these like shifter carts? Were they just regular standard go-karts? Or I can't imagine if your dad's into karting that he would have just a regular standard putt-putt golf cart.
It was basically a lawnmower engine. It was made by the Briggs and Stratton. It was a LO206. That was the first go-kart
That's how we all
I ever
started.
had.
So it was really a starter cart. When you started, you started.
Yeah, it was like bare bones. I think it was like 5 years old. That's what I first started on.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mike learned how to drive on one of those.
Yeah, he's still got one in his backyard. He takes it down to the 7-Eleven every once in a while. So I understand that you are an engineering student. Let's get down to the basics here. You graduated from high school, and I assume that you are in college or have graduated from college?
University of California.
I'm in college right now. I'm a junior right now, studying electrical engineering.
Electrical engineering. So what made you go into that direction?
I really think that's the way cars are going. I see where it is with, all the electronics in cars and ECUs and programming. And I'm like, that's kind of the way I thought the automotive industry was going.
Well, from what I understand, that good for you.
Yeah.
From what I understand, that the electrical architecture in cars is they've been trying to get it changed since the onset of the 100 computers that are now on board. And the first thing is these 12-volt systems, and they want to get to a 24-volt system. And it's also going to cut down a lot of weight on the car because of the wiring that's currently in there, and so it's all going to go fiber. Am I missing something there?
Yeah, I have read about that. I think you're correct. I'm not sure though. I'd have to read more on it.
Well,
Well, it's just be the evolution of the automobile, and we've got
Right.
youngsters like you, Andrew, that are going to take that evolution to the next level. So, kudos to you for finding that niche there and working it out with your race car career.
Yeah, and that goes with let's see, nature studies, and let's talk about global warming and all of the other classes that you got to take to get the degree. Right? Am I right?
Oh yeah, I had to take. I mean, I
Forgot about
taken
those.
I've taken some interesting classes. I took a class on the Beatles, which was pretty fun. But yeah,
That
there's
would
some
be
interesting
good.
classes
Yeah.
you have to take.
Considering they're from England.
Yeah, yeah, and they build cars over there, but they're really weird cars.
Yeah.
But anyway,
It
that's
was, I was going to say University of California, Santa Cruz. So a lot of girls out there, huh? For youngsters that are race car drivers?
Unfortunately, I'm pretty focused on racing in school,
Oh,
but
okay.
But there's always room. That
He's
means
not
there's
gonna
always a
say.
possibility.
He's not gonna
no,
say.
he's not going to say. He's not going to tip his hand. So you're
it back.
driving, I understand, in the ARCA series. Let's talk about that, shall we?
yeah,
So,
the ARCA series.
how did you get the ride? First of all,
I met Tim Huddleston. That's the team owner I raced for. I met him when I was, I think, 17. And then I raced at his racetrack at Irwindale Speedway. Rest in peace, it closed. But I raced at his racetrack in the spec late model division with just like me and a couple people. We were just working on the car, and I won a couple races. And then I think it was last year I was at school, and he calls me, and I was in, I forgot what class it was. I think it was my differential equations class that I was in. And he's
differential
like, "You want to
equations.
run my ARCA car?" And I was like, "Yeah, when?" He's like, "This weekend. Do you have an ARCA license?" I was like, "Yeah." I did not have an ARCA license. I like called ARCA. I'm like, "How do I get a license?" They're like, "You got to go to the doctor. We got to do all this stuff." And I like got it somehow in that 5-day period, and then I was on the track that weekend. So that's
Wow.
kind of how I ended up in the
And
series.
so that first race was where?
Bakersfield. It was Kevin Harvick's current raceway.
Okay, and how long was the track?
It was half mile.
Half
Oh,
mile
okay,
track.
yeah.
So and it's a banked oval.
Yeah, it was. I think it's 14 degrees of banking.
Okay.
I'm not sure,
That's
but it was
good.
pretty
That's
bad.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's talk about the car that you're driving in. I would assume that in ARCA there are different levels of cars for different tracks and ability to drive them and that sort of thing. Am I correct or no?
They're all pretty similar. They're all around 700 horsepower. They all weigh about 3,300 pounds. All steel tube chassis. So they're all pretty similar, but there's some differences in who made the car, who made the chassis, who built your engine, but they're
Yeah.
all kind of roughly in that area of 750 horsepower.
So how did you
300
do in
pounds.
your first race? Where did you place?
I think we finished sixth or fifth.
Sixth.
Not bad.
Yeah, fifth or sixth.
Top
I'm
10?
not sure.
There you
Yeah.
So a top 10 finish, what, 20 cars, 30 cars?
27, I believe.
27
good.
cars. Well, way to go.
Yeah.
Dude, you're bad to the bone
There
kind of
you go.
guy. So and are you still in that series? You still racing?
Yeah, I just raced a couple of weeks ago at Shasta. We finished fourth. We're going to Colorado next week. Hopefully, I'll win. So
There you go.
Well, yeah, it's time. Yeah, you got to prove to your owner that his choice in you driving the car was a good one. And I think that you probably
Yeah.
got a
Yeah,
good leg up on that.
He's on his way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so what are your goals? Are you going to stay in ARCA another year while you get your college degree, or what are your plans?
I mean, I'm always looking for opportunities. So
Good answer.
if anyone wants me to drive the race car, call me. But I'm always looking for opportunities. I'll drive anything with 4 wheels. Put me in it. May not do the best, but believe me,
You'll try hard.
Lost
Oh no. We lost him.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, he's got his head on straight, that's for sure.
Yeah, he does.
He's got a plan what he wants to do. 21 years old. Come on now. What was your plan at 21? To make it to 22.
Make it to
don't-
Saturday night.
You don't want to know
Make it
what
to
my
22.
plan was. My plan was
yeah.
whatever was happening that night. That
Yeah.
was the plan.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We've lost his volume and everything.
Yeah. And to have an owner call you and say, "Hey, come join my team." That'd be cool. That's cool too.
Yeah, but
Well, it
also,
is, and that goes through his effort and stuff. And I was hoping that we'd get to talk to him a little bit longer. You asked him long range plans, but I was wondering, is he going to go into that automotive space for that with that electrical engineering degree, or is he just going to use that to pay
don't
for
know.
his racing efforts?
Well, I don't know, obviously,
Yeah.
but a degree is something in addition to a electrical degree, or the electrical degree that he's trying to go for is going to be, for him anyway,
Right.
automotive related. And but I mean, he's 21.
And what
Let-
happens if you don't make it as a race car driver? What happens if you don't pick up a ride next year and you're off a year or two? You've got to fall back on that electrical degree.
Well, there's also that, and also behind the scenes in racing as well. And listen, I worked with a lot of talented guys when I did the NHRA drag racing tour, and those guys that are in Formula One and IndyCar, they're making some really good money, and they're very talented, and most of them have a college degree in something.
Yeah.
And
Some
so,
engineering field.
yeah, exactly.
So
So
they got to have that so they can kind of help the guys that are their crew set up the car. They got to be able to communicate. This is what the car is doing on the track, so that they can make adjustments.
yeah, and as his bio reads here, his long-term goal is reaching the NASCAR Cup Series.
right.
As with anybody, I think that at his level, and obviously he's got a connection
Yeah.
with the ARCA series, and
Well, he does now. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
And the Cup Series owners pull from ARCA, the Truck Series. They pull from
Well,
every
karts. They grow from the kart series.
There is that as well. So I think that there's a lot of potential there for that boy.
But it's
His
not-
name is Andrew Chapman.
But it's
And
not
that was
just
one
a
of the
NASCAR.
reasons that I thought his story was. We've talked to some of those young guys. One in particular that was already going overseas, still a teenager going overseas, doing really well. Family owned a track. So, I mean, there was a lot of support there in that regard. And here's his
Networking to
kids.
begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's working out of the back of his dad's pickup truck between tracks when he's in the go-kart series. So I just thought it was really interesting to see somebody coming up that way.
Yeah, but you brought up the point, Mike, that there's, he could get into something in the automotive, a niche for that electrical. But in any of the racing series we talk about, you got NHRA, you got NASCAR, you got Indy, like you stated, there are specialties. You've got a department or a team of people just for the shocks. And then you got a team of people in an NHRA just for the heads, or suspension and computers. So each one has its own little department, little niche that he could get into or no
Absolutely.
more. Yeah.
And then you go look at the sanctioning bodies like NHRA. They've got their tracks, IHRA, Formula One, whoever, NASCAR. I mean, they've got a lot of stuff going on there at their tracks. It takes a lot of somebody with an engineering degree to kind of set it up and keep it functioning.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, well, and
So there's all
within,
kinds of aspects.
within those entities, there's always the guy that has got to pass your car with an inspection, and he's the
Yeah.
inspector.
The safety
And-
guys. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not just safety, but the whole overall car. Has it got the right fuel injection system on it? Is he trying to cheat with something?
yeah.
You
Is
know,
there any
there's all
extra
of that.
fuel in the roll bar piping or anything?
Dang, you found me out.
That's it. Roll bar piping fuel supply.
Well, there was. Who was it that did that, Mike? You would know,
It was a drag racer, and I'm trying to remember who it was.
No,
but
I thought it was a NASCAR guy where he had the fuel line from the tank to the carburetor was like an extra 19 feet roped through the car so that when they put gas in it, they filled up the tube and the tank so that it kind of like never ran out of gas because it was like
Yeah, carried
20
an extra
gallons in the
gallon or
tube.
two, yeah.
Exactly.
But I think
So
it was a drag race that actually had it inside the roll cage.
Oh, okay.
That's
Piped
really
it in there.
safe.
Yeah.
That's real safe there.
Yeah.
Quarter mile at a time. Interesting
God.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck to the young man.
Yeah. I'm sorry that we lost him.
Yeah,
maybe-
I got a text back from him that his Wi-Fi suddenly stopped altogether.
Well, there you go.
So-
California.
California, what can you say?
There's that. All right. Just ahead, Jeff's Motor Minute, and I get to review the new redesigned Kia Telluride when the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this.
The Tex-Mex dining experience is defined by Lupi Tortilla, your destination for Texas's best beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. Since 1983, Lupi Tortilla has served authentic and time-tested recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Atmosphere is part of the award-winning experience at Lupi Tortilla, all developed in a little house near Highway 6 and I-10 in Houston. Visit any of the Lupi Tortillas and you'll see the same attention to detail in each and every location. Start your loopy experience with queso flamiado and guacamole, along with a classic frozen margarita. Dine on famous loopy beef and chicken fajitas or pepper shrimp brochette, or a fish or vegetarian entree, and finish with a scrumptious flan for dessert. Find Loopy Tortilla in Houston, College Station, Beaumont, Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas-Fort Worth. There's a Texas location near you. The recipes are authentic and time-tested. The ingredients always fresh. Loopy Tortilla. Eats pretty good. Apple or Android, In Wheel Time podcast can be found everywhere, on the stream and through downloads. Whether you're on the road or at home and searching for a fun car talk show, give In Wheel Time a try. Honest new car reviews, fun, informative interviews with real car people, weekly automotive news, features like Jeff's Car Culture, Mike's Driving Destinations, all on In Wheel Time. Check us out on SiriusXM Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or while you're shopping on Amazon through Amazon Music. InWheelTime.com has a list, so check us out.
Thank you for joining us today. You're invited to join us every week for a live version of the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Saturdays, a regular time, 10 to noon Central on InWheelTime.com, YouTube, and Facebook. Or you can always grab a 30-minute podcast of our show from your favorite podcast store, and it is free.
And amazing.
Yeah. So let's do the car review first, okay?
Got it, Mike?
I had an opportunity to drive the 2027 Kia Telluride. Available trim levels, the LX, the S, the EX, the SX, SX Prestige, X Line, and X Pro. I got to drive the X Pro SX Prestige all-wheel drive. So these are basically trim packages is what they are.
Sure.
They name them different things, and they bundle up all these things within those trim packages, and usually it goes up the ladder to the top line trim called X Pro. So there you have it. This is considered a standard SUV. Seats up to 7 passengers, a 3-row. This is a complete redesign for 2027. Sharp looking, blunt nose, with a distinct lighting pattern up front, symmetrical wheel well openings with slab sides, rear vertical lighting, takes cues from the front lights, big, wide rear hatch that swallows up everything. Kind of good looking, actually. Yeah. What I love the beautiful design execution. What could use improvement? Nothing. Overall, it gets high marks for the design of this thing. It looks really cool, I think. Interior highlights. Our top-of-the-line X Pro interior trim and seat coverings are top-notch all the way. Now there's more leg room in the back seats thanks to a longer wheelbase with this redesign. Dual phone chargers. That was interesting right up front, up there on the center console. And big in-console cup holders are handy as well. Huge instrument and infotainment screen, one of the best that I've used. Cargo trunk room is kind of small with the third row up, as you would expect. What I liked about it, the design is modern, clever, and unique. I think that you'll really like it. What could use improvement? We couldn't think of anything. If you're in the market for something like this, definitely put it on your list. If you're in the market for a Suburban, this is something that would be a competitor to that. Now, here's a hitch that maybe strike against it. 2.5-liter turbo 4, a 4-banger, 274 horsepower. Might be a little low on power for as big as it is and how much weight it hauls. Torque, 311 pound-feet, 8-speed automatic transmission, 5,000-pound tow rating. Can't imagine it, but 17 miles per gallon in the city, 22 on the highway for a combined of 19. I got 22.5 miles per gallon over 467.8 miles. What could use improvement? The transmission downshift is slow to meet our needs. It needs more revs to be able to do that as well. So I think that they need to do a little bit more tweaking on the transmission. Ride and handling. Smooth ride, and despite its size, easy to maneuver in the grocery store parking lot. What could use improvement? Nothing. We didn't take it off-road, but the X Pro does have off-road type tires on it, and the Telluride height for off-roading. If you're into that sort of thing, I don't know anybody that goes off-roading in their
in a
SUV.
large vehicle like that. Yeah.
So base trim price on this, trim price now $56,790. Prices tested $59,580. That's pretty expensive. But the base model price is $39,190. So you can get into one of these things for under $40,000. Competitors, Hyundai Palisade, $39,435 is where it starts.
See, I had a question about that. Go ahead.
Honda Pilot, $42,500. Honda's always been more expensive than most of its competitors. And the Mazda CX-90 is also a competitor. It starts at $38,800.
When you said Palisades, I was thinking of the Palisades when I saw the back picture of that vehicle. Telluride Palisades. To me, they kind of blend together. And you also stated that it's up against competition of the Suburban. Is it that large?
It says that
I
it
was
is.
wondering.
It is. This is a big vehicle, and it's called a standard SUV, which throws it in the same category as a Suburban. That too is a standard SUV.
I would think Tahoe, but Suburban is a big truck.
It's big.
Yeah.
It's 3 rows of seating. So,
Wow.
and that's what this one has. Let's do your motor minute there, sir.
Sure, I've got one. So have you ever wondered why they drink milk at the end of the Indy 500?
Yes.
Well, Mike was asking the same thing, and I'm here to tell you. The iconic moment of the Indianapolis 500 winner drinking milk in Victory Lane is a long and colorful history that began in 1936. A gentleman by the name of Lewis Mayer, then a regular buttermilk drinker from his childhood out of Yonkers, New York, won his third Indianapolis 500, becoming the first driver to achieve this three-peat. Exhausted after the 500 miles, he sat up on Victory Lane on the car, raised 3 fingers on one hand and a bottle of milk in the other, and drank the milk. The scene was captured at a movie milestone moment, and the footage was later seen by the dairy industry executive who requested that milk be made available to every future winner of the Indianapolis 500.
Well, Wisconsin may be the dairy capital of the world, but they also have cows in Indianapolis,
Right.
too.
In 1936, the moment was unplanned, but it stuck. Winners of the 1938 and 41, again in 46, with a World War II hiatus, drank milk in Victory Lane. Meyer had repeatedly sipped milk after the 1933 win, but in the 30s, they weren't really doing that as a tradition. But in the 50s, the milk ceremony had become a staple of the Indy 500. Today, it's one of the most recognizable sports traditions, with the Indiana dairy farmers playing a central role. Since the 2000s, 2 Indiana farmers would request either a rookie or a veteran to present the ice-cold bottle of milk to the winning driver. The drivers polled before the race choose either whole milk, 2%, or skim. No mention of powdered or breast. The tradition has become more than a drink. It's a symbol of agriculture, family farming, and the connection between motorsports and the dairy industry. Even when drivers break the mold, like Emerson Fittipaldi in 1993, he drank orange juice, sacrilegious. Milk remains the centerpiece of the celebration. In short, the Indy 500 milk tradition began with a simple personal choice by Lewis Mayer in 1936, was immortalized in a newsreel, and has since grown to a 90-year-old celebration at Indianapolis 500.
Breast milk.
I'm going to go ahead and
I didn't let you slip by with that.
No, okay, just making sure you were listening.
I was.
And I'm going to do some other Indy stuff leading up for next week as well. So, big event. I love Indy. Indy's fantastic. I'm taping the qualifying right now. They ran full practice this morning. I've been watching it kind of segmented throughout the week, and it's
You
fantastic.
haven't had any wrecks?
A couple spins, but nothing major. Okay. Last year, the pole winner was at 2:34, I think, and yesterday they were clocking about 2:32, shutting it down because of wind and things like that. So, very, very cool.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that somebody ran 240 in one of the straights.
Yeah, and they backed down because they said the car was not where it should be.
Yeah. 240.
Well, you're coming out of one turn and you're looking down. Even if when you go into the short chute between 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, you can see the flags, and that's what they look up at the flags to see where the wind's blowing.
You ever been to the race?
Not to the race, but I've been to the track. In between races. Same thing with Daytona, but we're actually in Miami for the NASCAR race. But anyways, Indy's fantastic. I love it.
I've been a couple of times, and I'll tell you what, that is an experience that I'll never forget.
Yep.
Great place.
Yep.
You been to the actual race?
Yes, sir. Oof. I have. Sat on the infield behind the pits And that was interesting in itself.
Or the paddock.
The paddock. Anyway, story of the week. I'm going to do that now because I want to. Era of globalization and free trade expansion is over, and few expect it to return. More than a year after the president implemented tariffs at levels not seen in nearly a century, the future of automotive trade remains unclear, industry executives and analysts said. North American trade rules are in flux. I've kind of touched on this before. Major review is scheduled for July. Legal challenges to Trump's tariffs continue, and trade deals the U.S. struck with some allies appear fragile, to say the least. As automakers and suppliers grapple with tens of billions of dollars in annual tariff bills and increased commodities prices, they feel stuck, unable to make long-term decisions about where to invest and what to build and how to source their parts. Trump aimed to motivate automakers and suppliers to move production to the U.S. by placing 25% tariffs on vehicles and some auto parts. Trump has repeatedly pointed to billions of dollars in investment announcements by automakers over the past year as evidence the tariffs are bringing production back to the United States. The reality is more complicated. Automakers have announced plans to move production of just 5 models to the U.S. from other countries, according to an analysis by Auto Forecast Solutions. Stellantis plans to transfer production of the Jeep Compass and Cherokee from Mexico to Illinois in the coming years, while GM plans to move Chevy Trailblazer and Equinox production out of Mexico to plants in Tennessee and Kansas. GM also plans to move production of the successor to the Buick Envision crossover from China to Kansas. Car manufacturers plan production 5 to 7 years in advance, making it extremely difficult or even impossible for them to move quickly, according to Jennifer Safavian, CEO of Auto Drive America. You can check me. There you go.
Yeah.
Which represents foreign
Like you
automakers
said.
in the U.S., and automotive supply chains are extremely complex, further complicating efforts to move production, she said. Automakers with North America and auto production are looking to boost output of vehicles and parts that comply with the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement to reduce their tariff bills. USMCA-compliant vehicles and parts have received significant carve-outs from auto tariffs, in part because of automaker lobbying. Canadian and Mexican vehicles that comply with USMCA rules for reduced tariffs are subject to 25% duties only on the value of a vehicle's non-American content rather than 25% on the full vehicle value. USMCA faces a mandated review. The agreement requires the country's representatives to meet July 1st, 6-year anniversary of the trade pact taking effect, to decide whether to extend it for another 16 years, and if so, whether it should be amended. So that's coming up. And of course, once they meet and decide, we will have the latest for you here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. I was going to say the radio car talk show, but we're not on the radio.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, which is good and bad. Radio's gone down the toilet, but another subject for another day. Hey, if you'd like to get in touch with us, send us an email. The address here is info@inwheeltime.com. We are back right after this quick break. Stay with us.
Your car is a direct reflection of you, so don't be satisfied with color fade or a dingy, dull appearance. Get rid of those terrible automated car wash scratches. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your Save the Paint company. John Gray and his team of detailing experts can help your cars finish without a full repaint. Searching for real experts in window tint or windshield protection? Gulf Coast Auto Shield. Dash cams, radar detectors, Gulf Coast Auto Shield. Got a new car? Get it protected as soon as you take delivery. If you don't know which of the multitude of protection products to go with, John Gray will give you an honest opinion and won't sell you something you don't need. John will help you understand the many options and pricing right on the spot. He's your guy to have your ride looking its best and protected too. See the state-of-the-art shop yourself. Free tours anytime. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is easy to get to, located just south of the Southwest Freeway on the Sam Houston Parkway. Gulf Coast Auto Shield, full-service luxury car care today and online at gcautoshield.com. Gift giving should be meaningful, and we have an idea. A hand-painted custom illustration of your car from one of the nation's leading artists. Now you can get one or a car show poster customized for you, a friend, or a loved one. Bill Seitz will be happy to guide you through the process. No matter what the day, birthday, anniversary, or any day, an Autographics custom illustration adds an extra touch of class to any home. Call Bill today, 832-922-0963. That's 832-922-0963.
That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.